Close the doors of your mind from all carnal will, all carnal thought, or your basar. And all carnal will and carnal thoughts are your makashba, your thoughts, your yetzer. Your imaginations and your thoughts and your 12 cranial nerves and your 12 melanin centers about the center of your body from your belly button to your mouth. From your belly to your mouth. And that you may not breathe out lies and you may not breathe out what's not the truth out of your mouth and attract all the demons and spirits. For we look at this day, even as this yom, as a night to be much remembered, a night that one may watch, not only themselves, not only watch over themselves and watch over their own mind and their own thoughts, but to watch for their neighbor and to watch for the things that may take place. For we live in this world, we are not of it. For today is a day of freedom. Today is a day of warning. Today is the day that Yahuwah has given to us as a Natan, as a gift, to observe and shamar continually to all the people of Yasharal and those who will join themselves to Yasharal in complete and entirety by the Ruach. So today we acknowledge the one who made all the har of the earth, all the nahar of the earth, all the rivers and streams of the earth, the living water that flows from your mouth, from your belly to your mouth. The one who gives light and understanding that we may speak light, that we may light and illuminate those who may come into the way of eternal life. For broad is the way to destruction and narrow is the way to life, and few that be will find it. I say, seek and ye shall find, and say to your mind and your thoughts, Nafash, soul, receive wisdom and knowledge and understanding. Receive it within yourself. So this yom, as we move forward in kindness, ahab, joy, shalom, patience, meekness, temperance, gentleness, and self-control. And we will no wise clear ourselves and our mental faculties and our spiritual faculties and our spiritual mind and our spiritual eyes and hide from the Torah, from the truth. For that is our salvation and that is our near continually burning within ourselves, that we may be able to see and to govern and to watch for each other and for yourself. For today is the day of salvation. Right? So this is the book of Dead Sea Scrolls, 4Q 286, fragment, column 1. Your honored seat and glorious footstool is your resident heights. Right? See, look at his footstool. See, it says, Shamayim is my throne, the highest Shamayim is my throne, the earth is my footstool. And your Qahalath dwelling place and your glorious chariots, right? Your cherubs and their afanim and all their counsel, fiery foundations, bright flames, right? This all comes from his seat. Horrific splendor, luminous ray, and wonderful luminaries. He say luminous ray, his off. His iron, his off. His like a ray of the sun. He said his luminous ray, his honor and majesty, sublime Qahalath counsel, all the Qahalath counsel, right? Splendorous place, beautiful height, wonders of majesty, right? So this is Yahuwah's seat. And it says gathering places of forces, right? So it says, and people want to mess with the one in the highest Shamayim. And it says majesty and praise and greatness and fears and healing, right? Forget not his benefits, right? Just like Psalm Tahalim 103, I believe. It said, forget not his benefits. For Yahuwah, he said, Yahuwah heals all your diseases, right? And it says, wonderful works, foundations of wisdom and structure of knowledge and source of understanding. Qahalath counsel and true foundation. He said, this is the true foundation. And why we call his seat, his throne, the true foundation. We look at ourselves as a foundation, right? And you build on top of that foundation. You build a foundation. You got your base or your yard on your manure, and then you build on that foundation and you build on it, right? And it says right here, store of intelligence and from the sons of justice and residents of uprightness, great of mercies and good kindness. So all this comes from him. All this comes from him. And he said he created Adam in his own image and own likeness, both male and female. And you look at that. Look at the standards that one has to live by. Right? And it says right here, and true mercies and eternal kindness. Look at the standards that one has to live by. These are all things, these are fruits of the Ruach. And it says, and wonderful mysteries of Qahalath weeks, of the weeks, in their measure and signs of months, and in their stations, in their coups, in their stations, and in their glory in the glorious festivals, kabod festivals in their appointed times, and the Shabbats of the earth in their divisions, and fixed times of release, perpetual release of light and darkness, perpetual release of evening, morning. We're just went into the evening right now, the night. We're in Abyb. It's perpetual, it's continual, it's fixed for the appointed times and festival times, Shabbats. Why? You got to stay on the time sequence. By staying on the time sequence, you'll be able to see more. You can't get off the time sequence. The time sequence actually reveals you and allows you to keep going to eternal life. The time sequence is all linked. It's linked on a level that's beyond human comprehension. It's linked on a level that we ourselves are searching out and seeking out. It's linked on that level, and it's synchronized. And if you get off the synchronization, you leave yourself open to all the powers of darkness. Right? So this book of Yeshayahu 66:1. It says, thus says Yahuwah, Shamayim is my throne. He said, where his seat is. That's where his seat is. The highest Shamayim is my throne, and the earth is my footstool. It's his footstool. That's what comes from his throne. He said, that's my footstool. That's where he sows his seed, the adats. That's where he sows all those things we read. He sows that in the earth. He put that in the earth for us to recognize him. It says, what is the house that you will build for me? He's like looking for a bayith, a house will you build for me? And where is the place of my rest? He's like, where is it? He said, I want to rest inside of you. And it says, all things my hand has made. He said, my right hand has made. My hand, my yod has made. Right? He even made the sod, the lamb. And he made it with his open right hand and he told you to grab one on the 10th day. Right? And it says, and so all things came to be. He said, everything came to be, declares Yahuwah. But this is to whom I will look. He who is humble and contrite in ruach and trembles at my debar. He said, and trembles at my word. He said, I'm going to look to that person. That person is depressed. That person is down, lowly, humble, meek. And he said, I'm going to look to that person, that human being, that male or female. He said, I'm going to look to you to build a house. Why? Right? That word for my throne is Qahalath. He said, thus says Yahuwah, the Shamayim is my throne. That word for throne is Qahalath. It says seat of honor or seat, stool, seat, or throne, royal dignity. How you say royal dignity, right? Royal dignity. And then it also says from properly covered, it says throne, seat, stool, right? Authority. He said, that's the authority. His throne, my throne, is Qahalath. That's what it is. He says it's Qahalath. It's seat of honor. So you look at, you know how Malachi says, where's my honor? If I be a father, where's my honor? He said, where's my fear? If I be a master, where's my fear? It says seat of honor, right? So that word for foot, it says, thus it says Yahuwah, Shamayim is my throne, the earth is my footstool, is regal. You know, your foot, you're supposed to have your sandals on your feet, your staff in your hand, and your belt girded, right? You're supposed to be girded. Why? He says, thus says Yahuwah, Shamayim is my throne, the earth is my footstool, my regal. It says foot. It's seraphim, we just talked about seraphim. Cherubim, right? All that. But why is he saying this? It says foot, it says used for walking. And we walking out of Mizraim. He said we can ready to do that. He said walk out of Mizraim. And you gotta use your foot to do it. You gotta use sandals on your feet, your staff in your hand, and you gotta eat it in haste. Why? It's Yahuwah's Pasach. And your belt. And he said you gird it. Why? It's Yahuwah's Pasach. And it says right here, that word for stool, you got footstool. Shamayim is my stone, the earth is my foot. And you got stool, that word for stool is hadon. A footstool, it's all it is, to stamp upon. What do you mean stamp upon? Shamayim is my throne, the earth is my footstool. He says, if it's my footstool, you're at my feet. Man, he said, Satan, he told the woman, he said, you gonna bruise his head, he gonna bruise your heel. Because he at your feet. he should be. He told Isha that after. She said that's what he should be. He should be at your feet. You should be stomping on him. Right, even tonight. He said you should be stomping on top of him. All the intellect and intellectual knowledge and intelligence, he said you should be stomping on top of him. There ain't no way he should be on top of you in your mind. He should be at your feet. Right? It's the same thing. Right, so this is the book of Shemuth, Exodus chapter 24, verse 3 through 11. Then he said to Mashah, come up to Yahuwah, come up to Yahuwah, you and Harun, Nadab, Abihu, and the 70 elders of Yasharah, and worship from afar. And Mashah alone shall come near to Yahuwah, but the others shall not come near. And the people shall come up with him. And it says, and the people shall not come up with him. And Mashah came and told the people all the words of Yahuwah and all the rules. And all the people answered with one voice and said, all the words that Yahuwah has spoken, we will do. And Mashah wrote down all the words of Yahuwah. Right? He rose early in the morning and built an altar at the foot of the mountain and 12 pillars. Right? He built 12 pillars. Right? 12 pillars. And what did he do with that? Because you know what 12 pillars, it's similar to the 12 tribes of Yasharal. And it said right here, according to the 12 tribes of Yasharal, and he sent young men of the people of Yasharal who offered burnt offerings and sacrificed peace offerings of oxen to Yahuwah. And Mashah took half of the blood and put it in basins. So he took half of the blood and he put it in basins, in bowls. Right? And half the blood he threw against the altar. And half of it he threw against the altar. Then he took the book of the covenant and read it in the hearing of the people, and they said, all that Yahuwah has spoken, we will do, and we will be obedient. That's what they said. Because you know how they say, you put Yahuwah's name on something, and then you say, that's what we're going to do. And get what it said. And Mashah took the blood and threw it on the people and said, behold the blood. He said, behold the blood. It's the same thing we talked about yesterday. Let the blood be upon us and our children. He said, behold the blood. And he said, and of the covenant of you that Yahuwah has made with you in accordance with all these words. He said, your words that you spoke is the blood covenant. The bar that you spoke out of your mouth and saying that you were going to do it is the blood. That's what sprinkles you. The bar, the word. Why? The understanding of it. Once you hear it, it sprinkles your body. It covers you in blood. It protects you from the mastama and the powers of the underworld and Bianaki and all these beings that try to infiltrate your body. Verse 9 says, then Mashah and Harun, Nadab and Abihu and the 70 elders of Yasharal went up, and they saw Elohim of Yasharal. There was under his feet as it were the pavement of sapphire stone. There was under his feet as with the pavement of sapphire stone. So, Shawan is my throne, the earth is my footstool. Regal. Right? Regal, his foot is under his feet, is the pavement of sapphire stone. Where he sits on his throne. You know, his throne is real high. And all these things that issue out from that throne. And from that throne issues out many things. But then you see under it is sapphire stone. Like the very shamayim for clearness. It's just like when you look in the sky, or blue sky, and you see the blue sky and you see that how blue it is. He said that's how the bottom of his feet is. And he did not lay his hands on the chief of the men of the people of Yasharal. They beheld Yahuwah and ate and drank. They beheld Yahuwah and ate and drank. They ate and drank, right? So that word for sapphire is sapphire. Sapphire. It means sapphire or lapis lazuli, a gem, scratching a sapphire. He said that's under his feet. He got gems under his feet. Right? That's sapphire. How you say lapis lazuli? Right? This is what they call. This is what they call lapis lazuli. These things. This is what they call it. Sapphire stone. But you can pull these things right out of the earth. He said that's under his feet. That's what's under his feet. It's like a pavement of sapphire. Can you imagine walking on that every day? Right, so this book of Yakaziel, Ezekiel 1, 25-27. And there came a voice from above the expanse, over their heads. Right, because his feet is like sapphire stone. Like you looking under his feet, it's like looking at sapphire. And when they stood still, they let down their wings, and above the expanse over their heads there was the likeness of a throne. Shamaim is my throne, the earth is my footstool. In light, it said a throne, in appearance like sapphire. His throne like sapphire. The same words appear. His throne is like sapphire. And it says, and seated above the likeness of a throne, the Chdsh, was the likeness of a human appearance. That word for human appearance is Adam. He said, let us make Adam in my own image and own likeness. And we just read all the standards that come from his throne, from his seat. And he said, has one lived up to the standards that comes from his throne? The royal dignity, the seat of honor. Right, that's human appearance. It's like Adam. And upward from what had appearance of his waist, I saw he said, I saw as it were gleaming metal, like the appearance of fire enclosed all around. He's man, I ain't Ish Lapid. He like flaming torches. It was fire all around. It's not my debar like fire. Because you know, when you speak to the bar, that's the covenant. That's the blood. You know what it says? And downward from what had the appearance of his waist, I saw as it were the appearance of fire. And there was brightness all around him. He said, man, was nothing but the bar, the word. That's it. All around him. And you think about that. What type of fire is that? You think Satan coming near that fire? No, you think Mustama coming? You think Al-Sabi and Al-Sabi coming to that fire? You think Alpharus and Dagon coming to that fire? You think Adal coming? Or Aldi? Or Agbiwi? Or Asmodeus? You think they coming near that fire? No, they're not coming nowhere near it. And when you have it, you think they coming near you? Right? They don't want nothing to do with it. Right, so this is the book of Sirach 1, 8-10. All wisdom coming from Yahuwah. Why? Because it comes from his throne where he sits. His sapphire throne. Under his feet is sapphire. And guess what? And it is with him forever. Who can number the sand of the sea? We talked about the sand of the sea. It says, and the drops of rain and the days of eternity, can you number it? Who can find out the heights of the Shamaim and the breadth of the earth and the deep and wisdom? Who hath been created before all things, and the understanding of prudence from everlasting? The word of Yahuwah Elohim Most High is the fountain of wisdom. Matter of fact, it's the blood too. It's a fountain. It's the mean. Amazingly, the word of Yahuwah, the Most High, is the fountain of wisdom. That is mean, because you know, mem means fountain. And guess what? And guess what the word is too? The blood. The words that you spoke. And that's what? Dumb. And amazingly, he saw on the throne the appearance of a human appearance, and that was Adam. That was Adam. And matter of fact, Adam's name means strength in the blood. And verse 6 says, to whom hath the root of wisdom Hakmah been revealed? Or who have known her wise counsel? Who known it? Unto whom have knowledge of wisdom been made manifest? and who hath understood her great experience? There is one wise and greatly to be feared. Yahuwah sitting on his sapphire, his throne, his sapphire throne, his Chdsh, his sapphire throne. He said that's the person you should fear. He said not a human being. He said you need to fear him because Yahuwah is a spirit, a ruach. Right? He is a ruach. Right? So this book Ecclesiastes 5 and 8. If you are seeing in the province the oppression of the poor, he don't do that from his throne. The violation of justice, he definitely don't do that because that issues from his throne, his seat. And righteousness issues from his seat. If you see in the province people doing this, violating, do not be amazed at the matter. He's saying don't even be amazed at it. You know why? For the high official is watched by a higher official. He what? This is a night of month watching. He is watched. How you think Yahuwah watched? He said, upon this stone will be 7 eyes. He watched. You being watched. And yet what it says? By a higher. And there is yet higher ones over them. He said, you being watched. It's a night of much watching. People saying, ain't nobody watching me. Michael, didn't he have a song? He said, I always feel like somebody watching me. Oh, there's somebody watching you. Everybody watching you. Because it's a night of much watching. People say, I ain't, during the time when April come, well, he said when the equalists come in, man, it's more people watching on earth than you even think about. It's so much watching going on. It's absolutely amazing. Then it stopped afterwards, though. If people just continue to watch all the way through, 364. But it says that word for watch is on all 3 times. You see high, higher, and high. High and higher is Gabiyah. I say Gaboyah, right? It means high, exalted. As a matter of fact, it means proud, elevated, high, he said exalted. He said it's high, marched by another higher official. So you say, I got a high position. I said, and you're doing everything wrong. Guess what? It's a night of much watching. Who are watching you too. And amazingly, if you are doing these things, oppression of the poor, in violation of justice, judgment, and partiality in judgment, and righteousness, do not be amazed at the matter, because Yahuwah watching you. Because you know when you're doing all those things during this night, and how you say during the watch night, you know what happens? All the powers of Mustam are going to break into your house. It's coming in your mind. He coming. He coming, right? So this book of Sirach, right? Only reason I put it in again was for this reason. Skipping out Sirach 1 and 8. There is one wise and greatly to be feared, Yahuwah sitting on his throne. Verse 9 says, he created her and saw her and numbered her and poured her out upon all his works. That's what I want. Sirach 1 and 8. He said he poured wisdom out on all his works. Anything he did. Whether it's dealing with the poor, whether it's dealing with the needy, whether it's dealing with even with judgment itself. He put hukmah on all of it. And that's what one has to do in everything they do. And guess what? That's just like the blood being sprinkled on all your works. You know how he said he sprinkled the blood on all of them? They spoke the word and he sprinkled the blood on all of them. He said the words you've spoken is the blood, the dam. That's what Yahuwah does with all his stuff. And when he speaks to the bar on you and puts hukmah on you, that's like the blood being sprinkled on you. Verse 10 says, she is with all flesh according to his gift. So everybody should have it. According to his gift. And it says, and he hath given her to them that love him, sitting on his throne, his sapphire Chdsh. He said, you love him sitting on his throne, his sapphire stone. He said, I'll give it to you. I will give it to you. This Psalms Talim 33, 1 through 7. Shout for joy in Yahuwah, O ye righteous. Pray praise benefits the upright. Give thanks to Yahuwah with the lyre. Make melody to him with the harp of 10 strings. Why? ChayParach, right? Sing to him a new song. Play skillfully on the strings with a loud shout. He say, play. And start playing. For the word of Yahuwah is upright, and all his works is done in faithfulness. He loves righteousness and justice. The earth is full of his steadfast love of Yahuwah. By the word of Yahuwah, by the bar of Yahuwah, by wisdom itself, the Shamayim were made, and by the breath of his mouth, all her hosts. He gathers the waters of the sea as a heap. He puts the deep in storehouses. He said, by the word of Yahuwah, the bar of Yahuwah. The Shamayim were made, and by the breath of his mouth, all their hosts. He did that by his breath, right? So this book of Proverbs, mostly 8:22 through 27. Proverbs 8:22 through 27. Yahuwah possessed me at the beginning of his work, right? The first of his acts of old, right? Ages ago, I was set up before the beginning of the earth, before. And guess what it says? When there were no depths, I was brought forth before. How did he do that? When there was no springs abounding with water, before the mountains had been shaped, before the hills, I was brought forth, before he had made the earth with his field, before he made us. Or the first dust of the world. When he established the Shamayim, the Shamayim, the 7 heavens, I was there. When he drew the circle on the face of the deep, when he made firm the skies above, when he established the fountains of the deep, when he assigned the sea its limit, so that the waters might not transgress his command. When he marked out the foundation of the earth, then I was beside him. Before you. You get what it says? Like a master workman, and I was daily his delight, rejoicing always before him. Rejoicing before him always, rejoicing in the inhabited world, and delighting in the children of Adam, before they were even created. Before they were even here. Before, right? Right, this is the book of Hebrews, chapter 11, Abyb, Hebrews 11:3. Now, Amunah is the assurance of things hoped for, the conviction of things not seen, before. Because he said before these things were created, these things were not seen yet in physical reality. So, not seen, before. He said, you got to believe what was before everything. Yahuwah sitting on this throne. For by it, the people of old received their condemnation. He said, before the foundation of the world, everybody received their condemnation. Can you imagine? He said, you already been condemned before the foundation of the world. But he said, if you understand it today, then guess what? He already knew this before the foundation of the world. What are you going to do? And just like Yahushua said, we talked about yesterday, he knew before the foundation of the world who was going to betray him. He said, I already knew. Get what it says, verse 3 says, by Amunah we understand that the universe was created by the word of Yahuwah before, so that what is seen was not made out of things that are visible. So, and you should know this naturally, you create a child. You can't see it. Right? It all takes place in something that's invisible. Right? It all takes place in something that's out of things that are visible, right? It was not made out of things that are visible. You couldn't see any of that stuff that took place in the unseen world when the child is created and brought into this world. You couldn't even see it. This Bereshit, Genesis 1, 24 through 25, 20 through 23. And Yahuwah Elohim said, Bereshit chapter 1, verse 20 through 23. And Yahuwah Elohim said, let the waters swarm with swarms of living creatures, and let the birds fly. right? Above the earth, across the expanse of the Shamayim. So Yahuwah Elohim created the great sea creatures and every living thing that moves. So he already had this before the foundation of the world. He already knew what he was going to do. And which the waters swarm according to their kinds, and every winged bird according to its kind. And Yahuwah Elohim saw that it was ta'ud. And Yahuwah Elohim baraked them, saying, be fruitful and multiply, and fill the waters in the seas, and let the birds multiply on the earth. And there was evening and there was morning the fifth day. Right? It was the fifth day, Kamishi. But then 24, verse 24, and Yahuwah said, let the earth bring forth creatures according to their kinds, livestock, and creeping things, and beasts of the earth according to all to their kinds. And it was so, according to their kinds, and the livestock according to their kinds, and everything that creeps on the ground according to its kind. And Yahuwah saw that it was ta'ud, it was good. So he made all the things, the goats, the lambs, right? All the things that people, the behemoth, the ox, he made all that before the foundation of the world. Before the foundation of the world. And guess what? How he made it? By the Ruach. By the breath of his mouth. He made it by the Ruach. And he said, if you live by the Ruach, let us keep in step with the Ruach. Because the Ruach creates. The Ruach creates. Right, so this, it says, verse 26, then Yahuwah said, let us Atzah Adam in our Salem and our Darmuth, image and likeness, and let them have dominion or Radah, right? And it says, over the fish of the sea, and over the birds of the Shamayim, and over the livestock, and over all the earth, and every creeping thing that creeps on the earth. And Yahuwah Elohim created Adam in his own image. In the image of Yahuwah, he created him, male, Zakar, and female, Nakubah. He created them. He said, why you keep going over this? Because people will lose sight of these things very fast. Just like in the book of Proverbs, my son and daughter, don't lose sight of these things. Yahuwah made the Shamayim in the earth. Don't lose sight of these things, because if you lose sight, you go blind. He said, guess what he said? He said, when you lie down, your sleep will be sweet if you don't forget about it. You ain't gonna have nothing attacking your mind, trying to convince you something different. But he said, and Yahuwah Elohim baraked them, and Yahuwah Elohim said to them, be fruitful and multiply, and fill the earth and subdue it, and have dominion over the fish of the sea, over the birds of the Shamayim, and over every living thing that moves on the earth. So he knew all this before the foundation of the world. So he knew you, he knew me, he knew everybody. He knew what you're going to have on today, what clothes you're going to have on, and the mindset you're going to have. He already knew this. He already knew the things. He already knew all the things that we're going to think, the thoughts in our mind, how we're going to move, how we're going to thought, our future lives. He already knows what it's going to be. He said, how did he know the future? Because he sent you, how you say, Tardé Ma, dreams and things, and show you your future. If you believe it. If you can discern between Ta'ub and Ra and know when Satan's dream is in your head or it's from a Malachi. Verse 29, and Yahuwah Elohim said, behold, I have given every green plant yielding seed that is on the face of the earth, all the earth, and every tree with seed in its fruit. And you shall have them for food, your akla. And to every beast of the earth, and to every bird of the Shamayim, and everything that creeps on the earth, everything that has the breath of life, I have given every green plant for food. And it was so. And Yahuwah Elohim saw everything that he had made, and behold, it was very good. Male Ta'ub, and there was evening and there was morning, the sixth day. Right? This is the book of Exodus chapter 12, verse 1. Tell the Abyb of Yasharal that on the 10th day of this month, every man shall take a lamb according to their father's house, a lamb for a household. And if the household is too small for the lamb, then he and his nearest neighbor shall take according to the number of persons, according to what each can eat. You shall make your count for the lamb. Your lamb shall be without blemish, a male of a year old. Why? Because the 10th letter of the alphabet is Yod. It means male organ. That's why he had to be a male of a year old. How you gonna make a determination if it was a male or female? That's why you can't get rid of male and female. People say, why you can't get rid of masculine and feminine? Because you won't have a male lamb if you won't have that. That's why you can't get rid of masculine and feminine. And guess what it says? A male a year old, you may take it from the sheep, or you may take it from the sheep or the goats. You shall not keep it. You shall keep it, and you shall keep it, and you shall keep it until the 14th day of this month. That's what today is. The sun just went down. It's the 14th day. You're supposed to keep it until right now. When the whole assembly of the congregation of Yasharal shall kill their lambs at twilight. He said, you got to kill that lamb. You got to kill the sow. When does the 14th Yom start? 13th day at evening. That's what we're in right now. The lamb got to be killed. The lamb has to be slain. This is the day. And guess what it says? This Aramaic Palestinian target. Speak to all the congregation of children of Yasharal, saying, in the 10th of this month, whose time is appointed for this time occasion, and not for coming generations, they shall take a lamb for a house. But if the men of the house are fewer than 10 in number, 10, diyad, male organ, open right hand, attainment, receive. Can you receive this? In proportion to a sufficient number to eat the lamb. It says, if it be fewer than 10, how many disciples did Yahushua have? 12. He had 12 disciples. Because if they would have had less, it would not have been in proportion to the Pasach. How you say the numbering system would have been on? To a sufficient number to eat the lamb. He's like, that's not a sufficient number. Again, what it says, he and his neighbor who is nearest to his house shall take according to the number of souls, each man according to the sufficient of eating shall be counted for the lamb. So you only got 2 people, you need to go. He said, man, you need some lamb, you need some. Nobody should be, how you say, overeating. You know how they say? Be not dainty in eating meats. Didn't we just read that the other day? We read that. Because many, can remember what he said? He said, many have overeaten. He said, excess of meats brings sickness to the body. Why? Excess of food. When you have excess of food, it brings sicknesses to the body. And you know when you bring sicknesses to your body, right? And it says right here, according to the number of souls, each man according to the sufficient of eating shall be counted for the lamb. The lamb shall be a perfect male, a son of a year he shall be to you. Present your body as a living sacrifice, Qahalath and acceptable. He said, be not conformed to this world, be transformed by the renewing of your mind, that you may prove what is perfect and perfect will of Yahuwah. And it said right here, from the sheep, from the goats, you may take, and it shall be bound and reserved until the 14th day of this month. That's today. It's supposed to be bound, reserved until the 14th day of this month, that you may know to the fear of Mizraim when they see it. And you shall kill him according to the right of all the congregation, the assembly of Yasharal, between the sons. And people say, I want to condemn Yahushua. What are you doing on the 13th day at evening, keeping Pasach? What are you doing, killing the lamb? What are y'all doing? What are y'all doing in there? They don't even know. They don't even know. Satan knew though. Satan know. Right? He know. Right? The word for lamb is sa. It means what? One from the flock, a lamb or sheep, right? Pushing. right? We know Sa, you got the Shun, and you got the Ha. Shun is 300, Ha is 5. He was a 305, he was the 8. Yahuwah's name what? He was the 26, he was the 8. That's why I said it. That's why I said this. He said, why has 8? Yehukanan 129, because Yahuwah's name equals to 8, equals to 26, equals to 8. That's why Yehukanan was able to say that. The next day, he saw Yahusha coming toward him and said, behold, the Sa of Yahuwah. Because his name the Sa equals to 8. It equals to Yahuwah. When you break it down to its most smallest number, 2 plus 6 is 8. When you take that and you create a son, how you say a mini-me, right? That's why he said, let us make Adam in our own image and our own likeness. That's what he did. When he broke it down from 26 to 8, I'll make me a mini-me in my image and likeness. A little child. And behold, the Lamb of Yahuwah, a male without spring. He was basically saying a male without blemish, a year old. Behold, the Sa of Yahuwah who takes away the sin of the world, because he had to be that way. A male of a year old, perfect, without blemish. This is he whom I said, after me comes a man who ranks before me. He's a higher official. He's higher than me. Gabriel. He's higher than me. Because he's watched by a higher official. And Yahusha is watched by even a higher official. Because this is a night of much watching. He said, this is he whom I said, after me comes a man who ranks before me, because he was before me. He was before the foundation of the world. He was before a lamb was even created. You know why he was before a lamb was created? Because it's by the Ruach, not by the flesh. Because it was before the world was even created. Not by the flesh, by the Ruach. Because nothing that's seen made anything that's seen. It was all made from the unseen. It was by the Ruach. And get what it says. But for this purpose I came immersing. I myself did not know him. I didn't know who he was. But he says, but for this purpose I came immersing with water, that he might be revealed to Yahshua. So he came in immersed with water. And Yehukanan bore witness. I saw the Ruach descend from Shamayim like a dove. And it remained on him. And I myself did not know him. But he who sent me to immerse with water said to me, he on whom you see the Ruach descend and remain, this is he who immerses with the Ruach Qahalath. He said, you are immersing with the Ruach. And I have seen and I have borne witness that this is the son of Yahuwah, Elohim. Right? That's why he was able to say it. He was before me. He was before the foundation of the world, before Asar, before flesh was even created. You know, flesh that people eat. He said, I was here before that. And amazingly, Yahusha is being offered before they eat the flesh of the lamb. Before. By the Ruach. It's all by the Ruach. This Bereshit chapter 14, verse 8 through 20. The king of Sodom and the king of Gomorrah and the king of Admah and the king of Zeboim and the king of Bela, that is Zoar, went out and they joined in battle in the valley of Siddim. And Kedorlaomer, king of Elam, Tidal, king of Golim, Apharel, king of Shinar, and Arioch, king of Eleazar, 4 kings against 5. So now you got the world. He said wars and rumors of wars. The world fighting. You see it today. You're on the brink of war. Right now. Right now. And guess what? Now the valley of Siddim was full of bitumen pits. And as the king of Sodom and Gomorrah fled, some fell into them, and the rest fled to the hill country. They fighting in war. Right now. And it says, so the enemy took all the possessions of Sodom and Gomorrah, and all the possessions, and went their way. Now you see why all the powers of Mastama in Sodom and Gomorrah Mastama and all the demons are now going rampant around this time. You ever wonder why? He's like, why everything be going crazy around this time? Because these are all the powers of Mastama right now. Right now. Beyond our Keith is on Abunalek is having Bunalek, Satan al Mastama, offers Asabi, Ataf, Gaun, all these people, all these beings, Atrax. They out. And get what it says. So the enemy took all the possession of Sodom and Gomorrah, and that's what they're doing. And it says, and all the provisions and went their way. They also took loot, and then now you get entangled. You say, so why you need a Pasach right now? So all the powers of Mastama will pass over you. That's why. So it Pasach. He said, why you need the blood sprinkled on you? So all the powers of Mastama will pass over you. The sons of, he says, and they also took Lut, the son of Abraham's brother, who was dwelling in Sodom, and his possessions, and went their way. He came in like a thief in the night. And we posted this a night of much watching. He said, if the good man had known which hour the thief would come, he would have watched, and not allow his house to be broken into. But it looked like Lut, his eyes became closed. You know how you say it? His iron, his visual cortex, his 7 eyes, then went closed. And now all his stuff, he got broken in, his house got broken into, and he lost all his goods. Right, verse 13. Then one who had escaped came to Abraham the Abyb, who was living by the oak of Mamre the Amorite. And it says, brother of Eshcol and of Aner. These were allies of Abraham. So Abraham had allies, like people you know. They ain't with you, your people. He ain't with Abraham, but he had allies. He had other people. He said, you ally with me, you ally with me. Because he was making sure everything was right. Verse 14, and when Abraham heard that his kinsmen had been taken captive, he led forth his trained men born in his house, 318 of them. 318. Amazingly, 318 equals to what? 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Oh, 12. He had 12. One man with, if you add it up, 318, of course 318, but if you add 8 plus 1 plus 3 is 12. One man with 12. That's 13. And it says, of the, how many disciples did Yahushua have? Oh, never mind. And went in pursuit as far as Dan. And he divided his forces against them by night. Oh, it's a night of much watching. This is a night of much watching. You see the world today. Everybody's fighting. Everything, you want to bring a war. You could have your house broken into. All chaos can happen. And you know what happens? He said, this night, he said, you need the blood. He said, you strike. He said, I'll block all the powers of the Mastama on you. He said, let the blood be upon us and our children. Let the hyssop, the purple hyssop, be dipped in blood and then struck on our side posts and on the top of our house and on our side posts. Oh, he mean Yahushua Mashiach. But it said right here, verse 17, after his return from the defeat of Qahalath, here we go. And he divided his forces with them by night, he and his servants, and defeated them and pursued them to Haba of north of Damascus. Then he brought back all the possessions and also brought back his kinsman Lut with his possessions and the women and the people. So they took the women too. The women and the people. Because this is not much watching. And guess what happened? After his return from the defeat of Qahalath and the kings who were with him, the king of Sodom went out to meet him at the valley of Shavar, that is the king's valley, and Malach Sadiq, king of Salem, brought out bread and wine. He brought out bread and wine. It's a night of much watching. He brought out Lakam and wine. This is a night of much watching. He said it's not a time to have your eyes closed, both male and female. And it says he was the priest of the Most High, and he baraked him and said, Barak be Abraham by the Yahuwah Most High, possessor of Shamayim and earth, and Barak be Yahuwah Most High, who has delivered your enemies into your hand. He said he delivered them into your hand, right? Because this is a night of much watching, right? So this says, verse 13. Then one who had escaped came and told Abram the Hebrew, He told Abram the what? The Hebrew. The Abyb, right? Who was living by the oak of Mamre, the Amorite, right? So that word for Abram is Abram, right? But it means exalted father. He called the exalted father, right? He called and came and told the exalted father. And what did the exalted father do? The word for Abram, you got the Aleph, is strength. Then you got the Ba'ith, that's how you spell it, Abram, right? You got the Ba'ith is house. The Rosh is head and mind. And the Ma'im is water, full of life. Strength of the house and mind and water. And it's full of life. The exalted Father. And amazingly, what comes from Yahuwah's seat? A sapphire, his sapphire. What comes from his seat? A fountain. And amazingly, you add up Abram, Aleph is 1, Ba'ith is 2, Rosh is 200, and the Meme is 40. Equals to 243. Equals to 9. Equals to 9. What's the ninth letter of the Aleph is? The T. Tit. It means mud, clay. And it also means male and female. He said exalted father. Right? And he said he called Abram the Hebrew. That word for Hebrew is what? Abyb. Abyb. And it means one from beyond. One from beyond. Right? And what do you see at the beginning of Abyb? An iron. An iron. And amazingly, when you look at the iron, you look at your 7 eyes. And how you even gonna understand iron and 7 eyes? Because Zachariah already said, upon this stone gonna be Sheba iron. And amazingly, the stone means Abyb, the Father and the Son. And amazingly, you got an iron in the front of Abyb. Abram, Abyb. Because you're supposed to have your lamps continually burning. And the only way you're going to do that, Abyb. Right, you got iron, you got the word for Abyb is iron, which is eye. Well, of course, you know, watch experience. This is a night of much watching too. Abyb. This is a night of much watching. And you have the house, and guess where you're watching at? In your house. That's the Ba'ith, that's how you spell Abyb, in your house. You watching your house, your body, the house you live in, with your 7 eyes. And guess what? The Rosh is what? Because you know, Abyb is ayin, Ba'ith, and Rosh. It means head. Remember the young man said, my head, and he fell and laid on the lap and he died. But all Yahoo revived him and he sneezed 7 times and his eyes, the iron became open again. Right? And also, the mind. That's what the Rosh means. And amazingly, what's this right here? authority. What would his throne represent? His kiseh? Authority. I breathe. And guess what it say right here? The last letter is Yod. And we know what Yod is. Open right hand. Give, receive. A male. A lamb. And we doing all this. Amazingly, the Abyb word is Pasach. Is Pasach. It is Pasach. Abyb. Ayin, Ba'ith, Rosh, and Yod. And you add it all up, 70 plus 2, because Ayin is 70, the Ba'ith is 2, the Rosh is 200, and the Yod is 10 equals to 282 equals to 12. Oh, how many disciples did Yahusha have? 12. And what language did Yahusha speak? Abyb. The one man spoke Abyb, which is 13. And Abram was one man. He said, Abram the Hebrew, the exalted father who spoke Abyb, is 13. He had 12 men. And amazing, when you add up the men who were with Abraham, it equals to 12. All at the same time, right? So this, and he says, and Melchizedek, king of Salem, came out with bread and wine. Melchizedek, it means the king of Sedek, but that's what they say. But then it says right here, so you know it means Malak Sadak, king of righteousness. But it says right here, king of right. The king of right. The king of what's right. Right? It says, and Melchizedek, king of Salem, brought out bread, lakam. That's what we need down. Lakam, loaves. He brought out bread, grain, food, fruit, loaf. Right. He brought out a meal with what? Lakam, with yain, wine. He brought wine. And what did I say? Grape. He brought yain. He brought the grape. And amazing, you look at, when we talked about dung, what did dung equal to? Redness, the grape. Right? All that took place. And people say, what time was this? When did this happen? I don't know. It's a night of much watching. Then he walked out the house and he got broken in. His house got broken into because it's a night of much watching. Then he had to go rescue him at the night. Then he came out with bread and wine. Oh, I wonder what time this was. It's a night of much watching. And the world right now is doing the same thing that Sodom and Gomorrah and Kedar and all of them were doing right now. They fighting and taking things from each other. Because it's a night of much watching, and the thief is on the loose. The thief is on the loose. Right, so this is the book of Exodus, chapter 12, 40 through 42. The time that people, the Yasharal, lived in Mizraim were 430 years, and at the end of 430 years, on that very day, all the hosts of Yahuwah went out from the land of Mizraim, and it was a night of watching by Yahuwah to bring them out of the land of Mizraim. So this same night is a night of watching. It's a night of much watching. And it says, because you can't do it without your ayin, your Abyb. You'll watch, experience, and see. Get what it says. Kept by Yahuwah, by all the people of Yasharal throughout their generations, right? All of them. Watching is shamar. Night watch, vigil, observe, watching. He said, I want to go to sleep. This ain't the time to be going to sleep. You see the world today. This Bereshit chapter 2, 15 through 17. Yahuwah Elohim took Adam and put him in the garden of Eden to work it and keep it. Huh? to work it and keep it. And Yahuwah Elohim commanded the man, saying, you may surely eat of every tree of the garden, but of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil you shall not eat it. For in the day that you eat of it, you shall surely die. He said, you're going to die if you eat of it. So the word for garden is Eden. The Garden of Eden. And how do you spell Eden? It's a not of much watching. It's spelled with an iron. Your 7 eyes. He says what? It also means pleasure. His Eden, the Garden of Eden. Because you know what they say? The home of Adam and Kuah, both male and female. He said, you got to watch your garden. Your Eden, and your eyes got to be open. And he said, don't leave out your house too. Anyway, he said that during the time of Pasach. He said, don't you leave. He said, make sure you stay and keep a close watch. The Garden of Eden, both male and female. Why? Because a thief is coming. So the springtime comes, everybody want to start stealing stuff. You know, back in that when it's cold, everybody in the house. But as soon as the heat comes, everybody want to get outside, scope out what you got, scope out your house, scope out your wife, your children, scope out your possessions, scope out what you're doing, go online, search you out, look at what you're doing, try to figure you out. Everybody's just all doing all types of, because people ain't got nothing else to do. And you think about all the jobs that's being lost today, all the things that people have lost. They got a lot of free time, and they ain't got no money. So what you think they're gonna be studying to do? Righteous stuff? Sadiq? No. They're looking to get in some stuff. And also to get in your house, right? So you look at that word for, it says that he put Adam in the Garden of Eden, which is spelled with an iron, to work it and keep it. That word for work it is Abyb. And it's spelled with it starts with an iron. Because your eyes got to be open. You got to see it. You got to see this. It means to work, to serve, to labor, to work, to serve as subjects. This is the Garden of Eden. You're in the Garden of Iron, because you got to have your eyes open in the garden, in the iron. You got to have your eyes open when you're working and keeping it. And amazingly, you look at that word shamar. That word for keep it was shamar. I didn't put it in here, but that word is shamar. It's the same thing, a night of much watching. And get what it says. This is Exodus 12, 1 through 6. And Yahuwah Elohim said to Moshe and Aaron in the land of Mizraim, this month shall be the beginning of months. It shall be the first of the month of the year to you. He said, why you keep reading it? Tell all the congregation in Yasharal on the 10th day of this month, every male man shall take a lamb according to their father's house, a lamb for the household. And if the household is too small for the lamb, then he and his nearest neighbor shall take according to the number of persons, according to what can be eaten, and ye shall make your count of the lamb. Your lamb, your sow, shall be without blemish, a male of a year old. You may take it from the sheep and keep it until the 14th day of this month. That's right now. Right? He said, why do we need that? Verse 7. Going to verse 7. Then they shall take some of the dung and put it on the 2 doorposts and the lintels of the houses. We already talked about that. In which they eat it. They shall eat the flesh, the basar, that night roasted with fire, with unleavened bread, matzah, and bitter herbs, ma'ar, and they shall eat it. Do not eat any of it raw or boiled in water. Do not eat any of it raw or boiled in water, but roast it, its head with its legs and its inner parts. Then we talk about beyond a key. He said he could lodge inside of the head of an animal. Right? And it said right here, and you shall let none of it remain until the morning. Anything that remains until the morning, you shall burn. He said, burn it. Because it got to be, he said, if it remains until the morning, he said, burn it. And that go even quote. It said, in this matter, you shall eat it with your belt kagar fastened. Your belt kagar back fastened. Your sandals na'al on your feet, your regal, and your staff or makal in your hand, makal. And you shall eat it in haste, or kipazum. It is Yahuwah's Pasach. You got to do it fast. And I will pass through the land of Mizraim that night. Then he passed through Luke's house. Did he pass over it? Nah, his house got broken in. Yahuwah didn't Pasach that house. You know what it says? And I will strike the firstborn of the land of Mizraim, both men and beasts, and all the gods of Elohim of Mizraim. I will execute judgment. I am Yahuwah. So if you got them gods in your heart and your mind, if you got these other idols and gods in your heart and your mind right now, and you believe they're gonna save you and deliver you and make you into something, if you got them in your heart and your mind right now, he's saying, he said, I will strike the firstborn all the land of Mizraim, both man and beast, and on all the gods, Elohim of Mizraim, I will execute judgment. He's going to execute judgment on your heart and your mind today. If you got these gods in your heart and your mind, he says, I am Yahuwah. That's what he's going to do. He's going to let the powers of Mastama be loosed on your body and your mind if you have these gods in your heart. And he says, the blood shall be a sign for you. Huh? Was it not? You take purple hyssop and dip it in blood, and you put it, and he put Yahushua on a purple robe and a scarlet robe, and you strike it on both sides on the top of the door. And you not redeemed with corruptible silver and gold, but with the precious blood of Yahushua Mashiach, a lamb without spot or wrinkle, a male year old. It's a sign for you. And when I see the blood, when I see Yahushua, I will pass over you. Why would Yahuwah kill his son? He already killed his son already. He already sacrificed him. And no plague will befall you to destroy you, the destroyer. He said it won't come on you. When I strike the land of Mizraim, he said, when I strike the land of Mizraim, and where you live at? You see the world today. If you would start striking stuff right now, and you got all this thing going on in your heart and your mind, what do you think he's gonna do? Right, so this is the book of Mark, chapter 14, verse 12 through 21. On the first day of unleavened bread, when they sacrificed the Pasach lamb, what day is that? That's the 14th day, the 13th day at evening, on the first day of unleavened bread. That's why we say, Qahalath says 8 days. People are like, oh no, it's at 8 days. It has to be 8 days, because the Sod equals to 8. Yahuwah's name equals to 8. It has to be 8 days for it to be the Lamb of Yahuwah that's going to take away the sin of the world. It has to be. Pasach is 8 days. And it says, where you will have, he said, and what he said, when they sacrificed Pasach, his disciples said to him, where will you have us go and prepare for you to eat Pasach? He said, where are we going to do that at? And he sent 2 of his disciples, and he said to him, go into the city, and a man carrying a jar of water will meet you. Follow him, and wherever he enters, say to the master of the house. So he said, talk to the master. The teacher says, where is my guest room, where I may eat the Pasach with the disciples? And he will show you a large upper room furnished and ready. Didn't that what the rich woman did for Eliashib when he came through? She put him a place to rest at the top of her house. At the top. You know why? He was a male without blemish. And where did Asenath dwell? Asenath dwelled at the top of the house. Did she know? At the tower. because he was a male lamb, Pasach lamb without blemish. He was a virgin lamb. He was a virgin. He said, furnished and ready. There prepared for us. And the disciples set out and went to the city and found it just as he had told them. And they prepared the Pasach. And when it was evening, this is right now, he said he came with the 12. Oh, he came with the 12, 13. Oh, it's like Abyb. Abyb. And you know what he said? And as they were reclining at the table and eating, Yahushua said, truly I say to you, one of you will betray me, one who is eating with me. He's like, one of y'all gonna betray me tonight. Because you know why? They got all the gods and Mizraim in their heart and mind. They got oppression of the poor and the needy. They a wrong in judgment and mishpat. He said there's a higher official watching over another official. He said, Yahushua already knew before the foundation of the world, before the earth even was, who was going to betray him. Verse 19, and they began to be sorrowful and say to him, one another, is it I? And he said to them, it is one of the 12, one who is dipping bread into the dish with me. For the son of Adam goes as it is written of him, but woe to the man by whom the Son of Man is betrayed. It would be better for him that that man had not been born. He said, why Yahushua speak the word before he give people food? He's like, why he do that? Oh, you almost finished. This is Matthew 26, 17 to 29. Now the first day of unleavened matzah, the disciples came to Yahushua saying, where shall we prepare the Pasach? And he said, go, this is Matthew, go into the city and a certain man to say to him, the teacher says, my time is at hand. I will keep the Pasach at your house with my disciples. And the disciples did as Yahushua had directed them and prepared the Pasach. And when it was evening, he reclined at the table with the 12, and as they were eating, he said, truly I say to you, one of you will betray me. And they were very sorrowful and began to say to him, one after another, is it I, Yahushua? He answered, he who has dipped his hand in the dish with me will betray me. The Son of Man goes as is written of him, but woe to the man by whom the Son of Adam is betrayed. It will be even better for him that he had not been born. Judas, who betrayed him, answered, is it I, teacher? And he said, you have said so. Now as they were eating, Yahushua took bread, and after he blessing it, he broke it and gave it to the disciples and said, take, eat, this is my body. He broke the lakum. And he took a cup, and when he had given thanks, he gave it to them, saying, drink all of it, all of you. For this is my blood of the covenant. This is the done. Just like Mashah sprinkled the people. He said, this is the covenant. Well, he said, drink this, and this is the covenant, which is poured out for many for the forgiveness of sins. He said, this is the covenant. I tell you, I will not drink again of the fruit of the vine, the wine, the yain, until that day when I drink it anew in my Father's kingdom. So you're going to do the same thing when he get here. He said, I don't need no Pasach on the 364-day cycle. I don't need to keep the festival. This is Truth of Nazarene, Gospel of Nazarene 75, 4 through 18. We're going to skip through it. But it said, then your Judas, the newest member who had not been yet fully initiated in the mysteries, asked, where will you have us prepare the Pasach? He said, that's who asked. Judas, make sure we obey that Torah. You know how people say, we got to make sure we keep that Torah right now. And you know what he said? And Yahushua answered, would I desire at this Pasach to eat flesh with you before I am instituted the memorial of my oblation for the service of salvation for all? He said, should I eat flesh with you? He said, I'm doing this by what? Because he was before the foundation of the world. He said, I'm doing this by the Ruach. This ain't got nothing to do with no flesh. He said, I'm getting ready to do the salvation for all. And get what he said? For behold, the hour approaches when the son of Adam shall be betrayed into the hands of traitors. And one of the 12 said to him, Yahusha, is it I? And he answered, he whom I give the sop, the same is he. And Iscariot said to him, Yahusha, remember we read in the narrative of Yusuf, it said Judas was following with him, just trying to catch him in a lie, remember? He said that's all he was doing for 3 years. He said that's all he was doing. Trying to, because he was the son of the high priest, Caiaphas, the brother of the Caiaphas, son, the high priest. And you know when you're the high Kahan, it says, and Iscariot said to him, Yahusha, behold, the unleavened bread, the mingled wine, right? The oil and the herbs, because you gotta have the olive oil, you gotta have the herbs, right? The bitter herbs, the unleavened bread, right? That's what you dip it in and stuff, right? You gotta have all that. And then he said, herbs, but where is the lamb that Messiah commanded? He's like, what is Sah? Where is the Sah that he made on the 6th day of creation? Where's the Sah? For Judas had brought the lamb. He brought a lamb. He like, remember, if you read this, you would know that Yahusha, when they were bringing animals to eat, you know he was telling people what the beginning said, right? But you see Judas, he bringing a lamb, like you ain't just see all that stuff I did. You just gonna be willingly ignorant? You know what he said? But Yahusha had forbidden that it should be killed. He said, don't kill no lamb. But guess what he said? And Yehukanan spoke in the Ruach, saying, behold, the lamb, the good shepherd, which gives his life for the sheep. Because he just said, don't kill the lamb. Because he said, don't kill the lamb. He said, you giving your life for the sheep. You giving your life for the lamb. Because you don't want the lamb to be killed. You know what he said? For the sheep. And Judas was troubled at these words. He's like, what in the world? Because you know why he's troubled? Because it's about a Ruach. It's just like the disciples that walked away from Yahusha when he spoke and said, eat my flesh and drink my blood. Because it's about a Ruach. Anything about a Ruach, that's how you know. He said, I'm troubled. These words right here, y'all saying some stuff that ain't in the Torah. They say we're supposed to have a lamb, a son. You get what he said? For he knew that he would betray him. That's why, because it's about a Ruach. When you're doing it by the Ruach, you're going to have people betray you. And he said, but Judas said to Yahusha, is it not written that in the law, the Torah, that the lamb must be slain for the Pasach within the gates on the 14th day? Is it not written? We just read it. We just read it. Right, the book of Tehillim, Psalms 59 through 15. I will not accept a bull from your house or a goat from your folds. Why do you think Yahushua was like, get that thing out of here? We're not killing no lamb. For every beast of the forest is mine. When he did that? On the 6th day. Then he said, make the 4-footed beast. And he said, and the cattle on 1,000 hills. Then he said, make all the hills, make them fruitful and multiply. All the behemoth. I know all the birds of the hills. Then we just read on the 5th day. And all that moves in the field are mine on the 6th day. You know, he went the 5th and the 6th. If I were hungry, I would not tell you. Because just like he made the lamb on the 6th day, he made Adam to replace. He made Adam after that. He made Adam after that. And guess what he said? I will not tell you, for the world and its fullness are mine. Do I eat flesh of bulls and drink the blood of goats? Do I do that? Do I do what y'all said on Bereshit chapter 9 that you said you wouldn't do? Do I eat the flesh of bulls or drink the blood of goats? Do I do that? Do I eat lamb? Do I eat animal flesh? Do I desire, crave flesh in the wilderness like they did in Numbers 22? No. Get what he said. Offer to Yahuwah a sacrifice of thanksgiving. He said, that's what I want. I want a sacrifice of praise from you. I want a song. I want you to present your body a living sacrifice. Qahalath and acceptable. And perform your vows to the Most High Yahuwah. Perform your vows. What you said you're going to do. All that you say, if you, Mashah, we going to do. That's what he said, right? But amazingly, When he brought him out of his run, he said, I never spake to you from animal sacrifice and eating flesh. Verse 15, and call upon me in the day of trouble, and I will deliver you, and you shall glorify me. So in order for that to happen in the day of trouble, I will deliver you, and you shall kabod me. You have to offer to Yahuwah thanksgiving and perform your vows to the Most High. That's on the way. So he said, in the day of trouble, when things happen, your iron, when something happens, he said, I will deliver you, and you shall kabod me. He said, that's the only reason I'm going to deliver you. He said, Yahuwah delivered me from this situation. He said, man, this situation I'm in, I ain't never. He said, the only person that can get me out of this situation is Yahuwah. That's it. He said, your mother can't get you out of the situation, your father, your brother, your sister, no pastor, no teacher, your husband, your wife. Nobody get you out of the situation. Your finances, your bank account, you only got like $10 in it, right? You got negative 20, right? Nobody get you out of the situation. Right, everything's gone. Your house been broken into. Things been stolen. You're homeless. Things been taken. Right, you're living in a tent. He said the only person that can get you out of the situation is Yahuwah. That's the only person. Who else gonna get you out of the situation? He said, I don't got enough money. When a woman had enough money to pay her debts, the man said, go get you some jars from your neighbor, fill it up with some oil, and then sell it to everybody and pay your debts. And she only had a little jar. But she believed it. He said, the little that a man hath is more than all the treasures of the wicked. This gospel, truth of the Nazarene 75, 8 through 18. And Yahusha answered, you have walked with me. He's skipping, just continue on from what we just read. We don't even really stop in Psalms 50, just say you don't eat flesh. And Yahusha answered, you have walked with me even this short time, and yet you ask me this? He said, you don't walk with me, and you don't ask me this? If I am lifted up on the cross totality, then indeed shall the lamb be slain, but woe to him by whom it is delivered into the hands of the slayer. Because you're the one that's going to deliver me to the person that's going to slaughter me. Woe to you. It were better for him that he had not been born. And verily I say unto you, for this end I have come into the world, that I may put away all blood offerings and eating flesh of beasts and the birds that are slain by men. And he just talked about the 5th day of creation and the 6th day. In the beginning, the Creator gave all fruits of the trees and the seeds and the herbs for food. But those who love themselves more than Yahuwah, did they not? Or their fellow corrupted their ways and brought diseases in their body. Because once they started eating flesh, they started eating excess. They started eating any type of food they could find. They just keep eating over and over and over again in excess. And put diseases in their body and fill the earth with lust and violence and command. They put sin in their body. Because we was reading the other day, we just talked about how you get in contact with Yahuwah. It ain't got nothing to do with the things that people do today. And it says, not by shedding innocent blood, therefore, but by living a righteous life shall you find peace. Because righteousness comes from his throne, his sapphire throne. You ain't going to find peace until you live a righteous life. Oh, you mean malak, a right life. A right life, right? So this verse 12 says, walk in the way and you shall find the Most High, seek truth and the truth shall make you free. Live in the life and you shall not see death. All things are alive in the Ruach of the Creator who fills all things. Keep the commandments. Love Yahuwah with all your heart. Love your neighbor as yourself, even all living things. On these hang the whole Torah and the Nabi'im and the sum of the law. Who can count the sum of Yahuwah's thoughts? It's infinite. Remember we read in Psalms 139? Who can count his thoughts? It's like the sand of the sea. It's like the cool. You know, cool. You know what it said? And the sum of the law of the Torah is this. Do unto others as you will have them do unto you. It's really simple. It says, Barak are they who keep the Torah, for the Creator is manifest in all creatures, and all creatures live in the Creator. After these things, Yahushua dipped salt and gave it to Judas Iscariot, saying, what you will do, do it quickly. Do it in haste. Kippazon. You got to eat it in haste. He said, hurry up and go do this. He said, you're moving too slow. And it says, he then, having received salt, went out immediately, and it was night. It's a night of much watching. It's a night of much watching. Right? Verse 16, and when Judas Iscariot had gone out from Yahushua, Yahushua said, now is the Son of Man kabod among the 12, and Yahuwah is kabod in him. And verily I say to you, they who receive you receive me, and they who receive me receive the Most High Yahuwah who sent me. To you, how you receive? With your yod, with your right hand, your open right hand. It means receive attainment. And amazingly, that's the 10th letter of the alphabet. And he's the Lamb of Yahuwah, who's taking away the sin of the world. Receive it. And go what it says. To you who follow me in the regeneration of the elect, I appoint a kingdom as the same as has been appointed to me. And you who have been faithful to the truth shall sit upon 12 thrones, judging the 12 tribes of Yasharal, Abyb. Abyb. And guess what? And you guess how you going to judge them? With your 7 eyes? Sheba Ayin. And you guess what? Abyb. That's the only way you're going to understand 7 eyes. Sheba Ayin. And guess what? Verse 17. And one said to him, Yahushua, will you at all, because he said the Chdsh going to judge the world. How you going to do that? With 1 eye? You're going to judge it with 7 eyes. You're going to judge with, amazingly, Huda was a what? She was a judge. Ooh, Deborah was a what? How you think she judged? Oh, let me guess. The iron was open. All 7 of them. And it said right here, and one said to him, Yahushua, will you at this time restore the Malkut to Yasharal and Yasharal and Yehuda? Wait, to Yasharal? And Yahushua said, my kingdom is not of this world, neither are all Yasharal, which is called Yasharal. And they are those in every nation who defile not themselves with cruelty, who do righteousness, have mercy, love reverence, and all the works of the law. Why you say defile themselves with cruelty? We just read in Ecclesiastes. Oppression of the poor, judgment, the portion of the poor and the needy. Right, doing all these things. He said, you watch for a higher official though. Right, and it says right here, have mercy and love, reverence, all the works of the Torah. These are all things that come from his throne. Who succor or help to all who are weak and oppressed. Oppression, judgment. These are all things, he said, you watch by a higher official. I say it's a night of much watching. So people think, I'm gonna go on, I'm gonna hear something in the Torah, I'm gonna hear something online, I'm gonna hear a video, and then go and try to swindle some people and oppress them that are poor and get some money for your own self. To swindle them out of money. You gonna do that? He said, you watch by a higher official. And that higher official is watched by another higher official. And just like the book of Acts, when he gave up the word of Yahuwah, and he didn't give Yahuwah the kabod, what did the Malachi come to do to that man in the book of Acts? It was over for him. His life was over. That's the dangers of taking Yahuwah as the bar that you hear, and then you go do that. You want to give Yahuwah kabod. You don't want to say you don't want to use my name. You just want to take it and you don't want to use my name. Okay, no problem. I got you. It's coming. He said the Malachi, and people have no idea. And we're not saying that was a good Malachi that struck him down either. Right? But it said right here, who succor to all that are weak and oppressed, the same is true Yasharal, who help the weak and oppressed. you say they destroy the poor. You swindlers, extortioners. Lost thousands. I remember used to give money to people. I was like, man, I was just so, my eye was closed. I had like no eyes. My 7 eye was closed. My 7 eye was closed. He said, you go broke. Your eye was closed. My eye was closed. Man, it's just ridiculous. Right? Goodness. Like, you can 13, 1 through 20. Now, before the feast of Pasach, when Yahusha knew that the hour had come to depart out of this world, Yukanah 13, to the Father, having loved his own who were in the world, he loved them to the end. During Pasach, the supper, when Satan had already put in the heart of Judas Iscariot, Simon's son, to betray him, Yahusha, knowing that the Father had given all things to his hands, and that he had come from Yahuwah and was going back to Yahuwah, rose from Pasach, he laid aside his outer garments and taking a towel and tied it around his waist, right? He tied it around his waist. And what did he do? It said he tied it around his waist. You know when you tie it around your waist? And he said he tied it around his waist. And he tied it around his waist. Right? And get what he said? He said, then he poured water in a basin. And amazingly, he poured water in a basin, a bowl, and began to wash his disciples' feet and to wipe them with the towel that was wrapped around him. And he came to Simon Qahalath, and said to him, Adon, do you wash my feet, my regal? Because you know your regal, you gotta have your sandal in your feet. Your regal, you wash my feet? Yahusha answered him, what I am doing, you do not understand now, right? You washing my regal, my feet. So what was at the bottom of Yahuwah's feet on his throne? Of his sapphire? He said under his feet was like sapphire stone. He said it was like sapphire stone under his feet. And Yahusha answered him, what I am doing you do not understand now, but afterwards you will understand. Qahalath said to him, you shall never wash my feet. Think about your feet, at the bottom of your feet, and it's dirty and it's like black or red or like the dirt. And then you clean it at the bottom. Your feet be just like Yahuwah's feet at the bottom. It'll be just like his. And Yahusha answered him, if I do not wash you, you have no share with me. He said, you can't have no dirty feet. Yahusha like, if you're going to be with me, you can't have no dirty feet. Your feet cannot be, your regal, your feet cannot be dirty. You get what he said? And Simon said to him, Adon, not my feet only, but also wash my hands and my head, huh? Wash my hands and clean my hands off from my yard, from all the things that I've done, and my head, my mental faculties, my mind. He said, wash my head, wash my lapid, my supernatural fire, wash my leg, wash my iron, my spiritual mind. He said, wash my rosh, wash my yard, and my kaf, because that's his name, and wash my regal, my feet. He said, wash my regal, wash my hands, my kaf, and my yard, and wash my rosh, my head, and my mind. That's what he said, wash. He told Yahusha to do. Because when you with Yahusha, you can't have dirty feet. He said, if I can't wash your feet, you ain't going to have no place with me, because I can't have people around me with dirty feet. And Yahusha said to him, the one who bathed does not need to wash. He said, you don't need to wash, except his feet. So you clean yourself, you shouldn't wash, only thing you need to wash is your feet. Because your feet can get dirty. but it's completely clean. He said the one who bathes does not need to wash except his feet. That's it. Once you clean yourself, but it's completely clean, and you are clean, but not every one of you, for he knew who was to betray him. That was why he said, not all of you are clean. And when he had washed their feet, he put on his outer garment and resumed his place. And he said to them, do you understand what I have done to you? He said, I just washed your regal. I just cleaned your feet. Because it's under Yahuwah's feet is sapphire stones. It's like the color of sapphire. He said, do you understand what I just did to you? You call me teacher and master, and you are right, for so am I. If I then, your master and teacher, have washed your feet, you also ought to wash another's feet. For I have given you an example, that you also should do just as I have done. Truly I say to you, a servant is no greater than his master, nor is a messenger greater than the one who sent him, the higher official that sent him. And guess what it says? If you know these things, Barak are you. If you do them, I am not speaking of all of you. I know whom I have chosen. But the scripture will be fulfilled. He who ate my bread, my lakam, has lifted up his heel against me. He said, you done lifted up your heel. You know what he said? You done lifted up your heel. You think you above me. He said, you going to lift up your heel? Because Yahushua is down low serving them like a snake. You know how he told the serpent, you going on your belly you shall go? And he said, you're going to bruise his head and he going to bruise your heel. And Yahushua like, you ain't going to let me bite you on the heel? You're going to bruise my head. That's what you're getting ready to do. And amazingly, that's what he did. He said, man, search the scriptures. For in them you think you have eternal life? He's talking about me. And it says, I am telling you this now before it takes place, that when it does take place, you may believe that I am he. Truly I say to you, whoever receives the one I send receives me. Whoever receives me receives the one who sent me. I get to this. Right, this book back in Matthew 26, 30 through 46. And when they had sung a hymn, they went out to the Mount of Olives. And then Yahushua said to them, you will fall away because of me this night. This is the night right now. For it is written, I will strike the shepherd, and the sheep of the flock will be scattered. But after I am raised up, I will go before you in Galilee. Qahalath answered him, though they all fall away because of you, I will never fall away. You know how we talk. I will never do that. Yahushua said to him, truly I tell you this very night, because before the rooster crows, like we didn't get there yet, before the rooster crows this very night, this 14th day, this 13th day, even this nighttime, before the sun rises, because you can't leave none of it until the morning, you will deny me 3 times. He said, you're going to deny me 3 times. And how he going to do that? And Qahalath said to him, if I die, even if I must die with you, I will not deny you. And all the disciples said the same, and they all boasted. Even if I die with you, I will never say that. I will, man, look at here. Yahushua, man, we see our feet, we just like you. We got regal under our feet. Man, it's like sapphire stones on our feet. Man, we follow you everywhere you go. Matthew 26, 36 through 46. Then Yahushua went with them to the place called Gethsemane. And he said to the disciples, sit here while I go over there to pray. And taking with him Qahalath and the 2 sons of Zebedee, he began to be sorrowful and troubled. Then he said to them, my soul is very sorrowful, even to death. Remain here and watch with me. When you talk about man of sorrow, the pain of grief, he said, man, it's so heavy, it's like the sand of the sea. Remember we talked about in Job? He said, if you could count the number of it, it'd be more than heavier than the sand of the sea. And going a little further, he fell on his face and prayed, saying, my Father, because he came to make an atonement for the sins done on the earth. That's why it was more than the sand of the sea, because the children of Yasharal was as the sand of the sea. And he said it's heavier than the sand of the sea, because he's doing it for all the earth. And he said right here, be sorrowful and troubled. Then he said to them, my soul is very sorrowful, even to death. Remain here and watch with me. Watch with me. And going a little further, he fell down on his face and prayed, saying, my Father, if it be possible, let this cup pass from me. Nevertheless, not my will, but thine will, but as you will. And he came to the disciples and found them sleeping. He said, watch unto prayer. He said, what are you sleeping for? And you know what he said? And he said to them, he said to Qahalath, so could you not watch with me 1 hour? He's like, Qahalath, I thought you said you weren't going to deny me 3 times. This should have already been a sign for him. I ain't gonna fulfill what I said. I said I would never. I said I would not deny him. I said I will never. He said, but even if I have to die, I will do it. Didn't he say that? Qahalath couldn't even pray for 1 hour after he said that. And then guess what? He said, can't you walk with me for 1 hour? Verse 39, and get what he said, verse 40. And he came to the disciples and found them sleeping. And he said to them, he said to Qahalath, so you could not watch me 1 hour? He's like, he already called your bluff already. He said, watch and pray that you do not enter into temptation, because it's not much watching. You need to make sure you praying and palal and tafila, tahila, and you make sure you praising, make sure you keeping your mind fixed. That you don't enter into temptation. This is every night. But we practicing this night. The Ruach indeed is willing, but the flesh is weak. The Ruach want to do it because the Ruach is before the flesh. That's why we don't have no confidence in the flesh. Because the Ruach created all things before the world even was. He said, I was born like one brought up beside him. The flesh is weak. But he told us to help the weak and the oppressed. Those who walk by the flesh and those who are oppressed by demons. He told us to help them. Again, for the second time, he went away and prayed. And again, for the second time, he went away and prayed. Father, if this cannot pass unless I drink, your will be done. And again, he came and found them sleeping, and their eyes were heavy. So leaving them again, he went and prayed for the third time. They just denied him 3 times right there. Before they even got to the point where he denied them 3 times. By him not praying and being sleeping, and not when Yahushua said, "I'll come in a time when you're not aware," and he said, "Barak are those who are awake, whom I don't find sleeping." You Barak. Instead of saying the same words again, he did it again. He said, "Why are you saying the same words over and over again?" Then he came to the disciples and said to them, "Sleep and take your rest." Later on. See, the hour is at hand. The son of Adam, Yahuwah, is betrayed into the hand of sinners. Rise and let us go. See, my betrayer is at hand. He said, Mastama coming. He coming, right? Yuchanan 18, 1-4. And after Yahushua had spoken these words, he went out with the disciples to brook Kidron in the valley, where there was a garden, a gun. Because you know you're supposed to keep watch. It's iron. Abyb, the garden of Eden, iron. Now Judas, his betrayer, also knew the place because Yahushua had often met with his disciples. So Judas brought a band of soldiers and officers and chief priests and the Pharisees, from the chief priests and the Pharisees. And they arrived at the gun carrying lanterns, torches, and weapons. He said they got weapons and guns. They got all these things. He said, look at them. You come at me with swords and spears. He said, but I come in the name of Yahuwah. Y'all can stock up all the weapons you want. Get what he said. And Yahushua, knowing all that was coming upon him, stepped forward and asked him, whom are you seeking? And Yahushua answered, and Yahushua of Nazareth. They said, Yahushua of Nazareth. They answered, Yahushua said, I am he. He said, I am he. And guess what happened after that? And Judas, his betrayer, was standing there with them. And when Yahushua said, I am he, they drew back and fell to the ground. He said, you got to go to the ground. You know why? Because there's a higher official above the higher. Because you know those higher officials, those officials who sent Judas with the soldiers and the officers and the chief priest, from the chief priest, they are watched by a higher official, a Abyb, right? And then Yahushua is watched by even a higher official. He said, if you see oppression of the poor, oppression and things not right in judgment, injustice in the land, he said, don't even be amazed at it. For you watched by a higher official. And guess what they got to do once they figure out, oh, this man, he even higher official than me. You know what they got to do? They got to get on the ground. Because you know why? Because under his feet is like sapphire. It's just like sapphire. He's like, so you the one who bottom of his feet like that. You like up there. He said, yeah, get down. And guess what he said? So he asked them again, whom are you seeking? Yahushua of Nazareth, they answered. I told you I am he, Yahushua replied. So if you are looking for me, let these men go. This was to fulfill the word that he had spoken. I have not lost one that you have given me. Then Koph drew his sword and struck off the servant at Hakan's ear, cutting off his right ear. And the servant's name was Malchus. He said he cut off his right ear. His right ear. And guess what it says? Put your sword back in your sheath, Yahushua said to Koph. Shall I not drink of the cup my father has given me? He said, put your weapon away. And get what he said. Then the band of soldiers with his commanders and officers and the Yahudim arrested Yahushua and bound him. They arrested and bound him. Verse 13, and they brought him first to Annas, who was the father-in-law of Caiaphas, the high priest that year. And Caiaphas was the one who had advised the Yahudim that it would be better that one man should die for the people. Because that's what he did. Because he was the high Kahan. He said, it's better that one man should die for the people. Oh, you mean one Sah should die for all the people? Just one lamb from Yehuda. Because it can't be below 10. He couldn't die for 9 tribes. It had to be above 10 to die. He had to die for 10 tribes. It had to be above 10. It couldn't be below 9. It couldn't be, I'm going to die, he's going to send a Sah to die for 9. No, I got to send a Sah to die for, one Sah has to die for all the people. It has to be above 10. This book of Luke 12, 13 through 21. Someone in the crowd said to him, Teacher, tell my brother to divide the inheritance with me. But he said to him, Man, who made me a judge? Who made me a judge or arbiter over you? And he said to them, Take care, right? He said, Take care and be on guard against all covetousness. What do you mean be on guard? Be on watch. Watch. He say, see, experience, watch. Be on guard against all covetousness. These are the things that won't allow you, Mustama, and the beings to not pass over you. If you have covetous in your heart. And it says, for one's life does not consist of abundance of his possessions. You know how we got. Luke had a lot of possessions. Everything got stolen, even everything he had. And he told them a parable saying, the land of a rich man produced plentifully. And he thought to himself, what shall I do? For I have nowhere to store my crops. And he said, I will do this. I will tear down my barns and build larger ones. Woo, get bigger ones. And there I will store all my grain and my goods. Woo. And I will say to my soul, I stored up. I'm prepared. You know what they say? I'm prepared. I'm stored up. I got a bunch of stuff. You ain't prepared. You better get ready. You know how they say? You better get ready. But let's see it right here. And I will do this. I will tear down my barns and build larger ones. And there I will store all my grain and all my goods. And I will say to my soul, soul, you have ample goods laid up for many years. Relax, eat, and drink, and be merry. Right? Relax, drink, eat, be merry. Because you know, when you eat and drink and be merry, are you going to be watching anymore? Are you going to be on guard? No, because you know what happens when you eat and drink and be merry? You're going to go to sleep. Come on, let's be real. You're going to go to sleep. You get a full stomach. And it's some good food. I'm not saying nothing wrong with that. But he said what? But Yahuwah said to him, fool, this night, it's a night of much watching. Your soul is required of you, your nefash. And the things you have prepared, whose will they be? Who gonna take it? So is the one who lays up his treasures for himself and is not rich toward Yahuwah. Because riches are unseen. The riches are unseen. You know, because if you look according to the iron of your flesh, then guess what you're going to do? Walk according to the flesh. But if you look at the iron according to your inner mind, your 7 eyes, you'll be rich toward Yahuwah. You'll be rich. This is Yuchanan 16, Yuchanan chapter 4, 16 through 26. Yahusha said to her, go call your husband and come here. The woman answered, I have no husband. Yahusha said to her, you are right in saying I have no husband, for you have 5 husbands, and the one you now have is not your husband. He's like, what you been doing? And guess what she said? He said, what you have said is true. The woman said to him, sir, I perceive that you are Nabi. He's like, you can see straight into my heart. Because he got them 7 eyes open. You know, when you got the 7 eyes open, he said, I can see straight into you. I can see straight into your heart. I can see straight into your mind. I can see your heart. And you know what he said? Our fathers worship on this mountain, but you say in Jerusalem is the place where people ought to worship. Yahusha said to her, woman, believe me, the hour is coming when neither on this mountain nor in Jerusalem shall you worship the Father. You worship what you do not know. We know what we worship, for salvation is from the Yahudim. We say the Yahudim. Get what it said? But the hour is coming, and now is. It is now here, right now, when the true worshipers will worship Yahuwah Father in Ruach and in truth. Because the Ruach was before the flesh. He said Ruach was before flesh. The Ruach was before flesh. For the Father is seeking such people to worship him. Do I eat flesh? Offer to Yahuwah a sacrifice of thanksgiving and pay your vows toward him. I ain't looking for no people who eat no flesh. If I were hungry, I ain't telling you. He said, what you gonna do? I'm gonna make some lakam. Oh yeah. That's what I want. But get what it says. Yahuwah is Ruach. Before the foundation of the world. Before a lamb was even created. Before a temple, a shaloma was even created. Before a showbread offering was even created. Before onyx stones on your shoulders. Before you had 12 stones in your chest. Before you had a tunic and a turban on. Before all these things were even created. Before you even had before even all these things you put on to try to show yourself in the flesh that you are righteous. Before all of that. Go from your outer self to your inner self. Before your 2 eyes were there, before your 2 ears, before your 2 feet, your regal. Before all of that. Before your staff, the wood was created on the 3rd day. Before all that stuff you got on was created. He said, I was here before that, before the foundation of the world. And get what it says. Yahuwah is Ruach, and those who worship him must worship him in Ruach and in truth. The woman said to him, I know that Mashiach is coming. He who is Mashiach, who is called Mashiach, when he comes. He will tell us all things. Yahushua said to her, I who speak to you am he. He said to me, this is Philippians 3, 1-11. Finally, brothers and sisters, rejoice in Yahuwah. And to write, I rejoice in Yahuwah. Rejoice in Yahuwah. To write the same things to you is no trouble to me and is safe for you. What did he say? Look out for dogs. How you gonna look? With your iron. With your 7 eyes. He said, look out for dogs. What do dogs do? Remember when David, we talked about David? When when Absalom took over and he was walking and that man came cursing, he was saying things about David. You bloody man, you bloody man. You right. I'm a bloody man. He said, you better be a bloody man. Because you know why? He said, what? You bloody man. He said, let me go over there and take his head off. Isn't that what Qahalath did to the man? He tried to cut his ear off. Isn't that what he did? Isn't that what Qahalath did? He tried to cut the man's head off, cut his ear off. And what did David say to the young man who wanted to do that? He said, let him alone. For if he's cursing, it's because Yahuwah told him to curse. He said, perhaps Yahuwah will reward me good for his cursing today. And he kept walking on the road. He said, look out for dogs. And he said, what shall I do with this dumb dog? Let me take his head off. Isn't that what he said? He said, leave him alone. And let him curse. Let him curse the house. Let him curse my house. So that's what he was doing. Let him curse it. Perhaps Yahuwah will reward me good for his cursing today. He said, let him curse on YouTube. Let him curse online. Let him curse in comments. Let him curse in letters. Let him curse in spawn. Let him curse in all these things. Let him do it. Let him do it. He said, look out for dogs. Look out for the evildoers. How you gonna look? It's a night of much watching. People saying, what do you gotta watch out for? You're getting the schematics. Look out for dogs. Look out for evildoers. Look out for those who mutilate the flesh. Because why he say mutilate the flesh? Because we worship Yahuwah in Ruach and in truth. We do it according to the Ruach. That's why we're doing it right now. Why do you mean right now? Because this is the 14th day at night. Because this is the night. What happened? For we are the circumcision. Huh? Before there was a fleshly circumcision with Abraham, 99 years later, he was circumcised by the Ruach in his heart. Who worship Yahuwah, who worship by the Ruach of Yahuwah, and the Kabod, the Mashiach, and put no confidence in the flesh. Why would you put confidence in a blood, right, for your natural man? He said you need to put confidence in the blood for your inner man. We put no confidence in the flesh, because they that are going to keep Pasach, they're keeping the Pasach coming up after the lamb is slain and eaten in the flesh, will be cutting the flesh. Because the only way the Gentiles were able to keep Pasach with Yasharal, according to the flesh, they had to be circumcised in flesh. And they had to be circumcised in the flesh in order to participate with them. That's the only way they could have done it. And that is, how you say it? The 14th day at evening. Not the 13th day. Because those who do it now, what are we doing? We're doing it according to the Ruach. Because this is the night when Yahushua was taken. And get what it says. Though I myself have reason to be confident in the flesh also. You know why Shaul was saying this? Why is he talking to Philippi, a bunch of people who are uncircumcised, saying this thing? If anyone else thinks he has reason to be confident in the flesh, I have more. I have way more to be circumcised the 8th day in the flesh. Of the people of Yasharal, the tribe of Benjamin, a Hebrew of a Hebrew. You know what? Abyb, beyond, a man beyond. I'm beyond. From beyond. He said, I'm beyond. As to Torah, a Pharisee. But he said, as to zeal, a persecutor of the congregation, as righteousness under the law, blameless. But whatever gain I had, I counted as loss for the sake of Mashiach. Whatever gain I had according to flesh, I counted as circumcision. Why? Because everything I did was not according to the Ruach. He wasn't circumcised. He said, it wasn't according to the Ruach. It was all according to the flesh. And guess what happened? As zeal, as persecutor of the congregation, as to righteousness under the law, blameless. But whatever I gained, I counted as loss for the sake of Mashiach. Indeed, I count everything as loss because of the surpassing worth of knowing Mashiach, Yahushua, my master. For his sake, I have suffered loss of all things. Why he had to suffer loss of all things? And count them as rubbish, in order that I might gain Mashiach and be found in him, not having a righteousness of my own that comes from the law, but that which comes through Amunah in Mashiach, and righteousness from Yahuwah that depends on Amunah, faith. Faith, because you can't. I'm gonna keep the Pasach according to the Ruach. Can you see that? You can't see that. Can you see? I'm gonna keep the Pasach according to the Ruach. Can you see that? Everybody in Yahushua's house, you know, when Yahushua was taking the Pasach, everybody was circumcised in the flesh. Everybody was in there. They all were circumcised in the flesh. But for some reason, he's like, all y'all left me. You say you're going to die with me. You say you're going to run with me. You say you're going to do that. He said, all y'all left him. Even you had one betrayer in there who they all were circumcised in the flesh. The betrayer went to the high priest who was circumcised in the flesh, brought me, Yahushua, who was circumcised in the flesh on the 8th day, and brought me to the high Kahan to kill me. These are all the people circumcised in the flesh, and eat animal flesh, and eat the lamb. So did that stop them from doing what they did? No, it didn't stop them. None of it stopped them. Would I say get rid of circumcision of the flesh? No, I will never say that. But what I will say, right here, verse 10, that I may know him in the power of his resurrection. So what profit you to gain the whole world and lose your own soul? What profit you keep you walk according to the flesh and you boast about everything according to the flesh and you don't have nothing in the world? What profit is that? And power in his resurrection, and may share in his sufferings, becoming like him in death. Shaul lost all his position, everything he had. Then people turned his back on him. All of the Yahudim turned their back. They pretty much turned their back on him. He lost everything, even the position. You know how you lose your job? And get what it says, that by any means possible I may attain the resurrection of the dead. He said, by any means necessary. If I gotta lose everything, that's what he said. Some people say, that's crazy. Why would you want to lose everything? That's nuts. But that's how much Amunah he had. This is Aleph Yukanon 24 to 28. Let what you heard from the beginning abide in you. Because if you don't, the 5th day and the 6th day ain't gonna make sense to you that he was before the actual lamb was even created. It was by the Ruach. The lamb of Yahuwah was by the Ruach before the lamb was the fleshly carnal lamb that you eat. When it's actually killed before the sun, between the sun for the 15th day, he said, I was here before that. And amazingly, he was killed before that lamb. Right? And he says, and this is the promise he has made to, it says, let what you heard from the beginning abide in you. And if what you heard from the beginning abides in you, then you too will abide in the Son, the Ben, the life of the house, and the Father, the strength of the house. So you mean the everlasting exalted, he mean Abraham was an exalted father. Amazing, he had 12 disciples. How he said he spoke Abyb. And amazingly, and this is the promise he has made to us, eternal life. What's the promise? The promise is the debar, the word that was spoken from the Son and the Father. That's the promise. The word that was spoken by the Son and the Father. Verse 26, I write these things about those who are trying to deceive you. But the anointing you have received in him abides in you, because it's by the Ruach. It ain't by the flesh. This ain't, I get a big old giant bucket of oil and dump it on your head. You know how they do? Get a bunch of oil and dump it on your head? No. He said it abides in you. The Mashach, the anointing, is by the Ruach. You can't see it. That's why when David and Shaul were anointed, they took natural oil and poured it on their head. Even when a woman came with the alabaster box and poured it on his head. But he said this anointing is not by what you think you see. But the anointing that you receive from him abides in you, and you have no need that anyone should teach you. But as the anointing teaches you about everything, and it's true, and it's no lie, just as it has taught you, abide in him. And now, little children, abide in him, so that when he appears, you may have confidence and not shrink from him in shame at his coming. It's 1 Corinthians 11, 23 through 32. It says, for I received from the master what I also delivered to you, that the Adon Yahusha on the night when he was betrayed took bread. What night was this? This night, the 13th day at even. The 14th, beginning of the 14th day at night. This night. We only supposed to keep the lamb to the 14th. It's this night. Before the 15th day, the 14th day at even. Before the 15th day come in. And it says he was betrayed and took bread. That's what Malach Sadiq, Melchizedek did. And when he had given thanks, he broke it and said, this is my body which is for you. Do this in remembrance of me. In the same way, he also took a cup after Pasach, saying, this cup is a new covenant in my blood. Do this, and as often as you drink it in remembrance of me, for as often as you eat this bread and drink this cup, you proclaim the master's death until he comes. When his death took place, he was taken at night. This night. That's when the lamb was supposed to be killed, in between the suns. Whosoever therefore eats the bread and drinks the cup of Yahuwah in an unworthy manner, if you got covetous, oppression, person of poverty, oppression of the poor and needy, slander to shed blood, gossip, slander, all the behaviors of the works of the flesh. He said, if you drink it in an unworthy manner and be guilty concerning the body of the blood of the Master Yahuwah, you got idols in your heart. He's going to execute judgment on all the idols of the gods in Mizraim. Let a person examine himself, then so eat the bread and drink the cup. For anyone who eats and drinks without discerning the body eats and drinks judgment on himself. And then what he said in Mizraim, so you got them other gods. He said, I'm going to execute judgment on all the gods of Mizraim. That's what he said. And get what he said. That is why many of you are weak. The destroyer. Ill. Right? Some have died. Why? Because, but if we judge ourselves truly, how you say, not impartial in judgment. How many times? He said, we will not judge ourselves impartially. Truly, we would not be judged. You ain't gonna have no judgment on you. If you judge yourself really truly, if you will get your 7 eyes open, and you're not partial in judgment on yourself. But when we are judged by the Yahuwah, we are disciplined, so that we may not be condemned along with the world. That's all it is. So we won't be condemned with the world. Right? It's Matthew 26, 40 through 41. And he came to the disciples and found them sleeping. And he said to Qahalath, so could you not watch with me 1 hour? Watch and pray that you may not enter into temptation. The Ruach indeed is willing, but the flesh is weak. Luke 12, 37 through 40. Barak are all the servants. What was Adam in the garden? Abyb, iron. It meant servant, to serve. Barak are the servants whom the master finds awake when he comes. That's what Adam's name means. That's what Adam's servant's job was. Abyb. It was spelled with an iron. Truly I say to you, he will dress himself for service and have them recline at the table, and he will come and serve them. If he comes in the second watch, or the third watch, because you know the second watch begin when? Now. Or the third watch, right? And finds them awake, Barak are those servants, because you ain't supposed to be sleeping. You're supposed to be watching, because there's not as much watching. But know this, that if the master of the house had known what hour the thief was coming, he would not have left his house to be broken into. You also must be ready, for the Son of Yahuwah is coming at an hour you do not expect. So he comes. This is Luke 12, 35 through 48. Continue on. Stay dressed for action. Keep your lamps burning. And be like men who are waiting for their master to come from the wedding feast, so that they may open the door to him at once when he comes and knocks. Why? Because you're watching his house. Barak are those servants whom the master finds awake when he comes. Truly I say to you, he will dress himself for service, and he will climb the table, and he will come and serve him. Right? He said, why are you reading again? Because people need to start perceiving. He's like, oh, this is boring. You read it again. If he comes in the second watch or the third watch and finds them awake, Barak are all those servants. Blessed are those servants. But know this, that if the master of the house had known what hour the thief was coming, he would have not left his house to be broken into. You also must be ready. For the son of Adam is coming in an hour you do not expect. He said, why you keep repeating this stuff twice? It's for a reason. It's Matthew 5:25. Then the kingdom of Shamayim will be like 10 virgins who took their lamps and went to meet the bridegroom. And 5 of them were foolish, and 5 of them were wise. For when the foolish took their lamps, their lamps, they took no oil with them. So you got 7. Remember, you got 7 bowls. You got 6 bowls, 3 on the right, 3 on the left, and you got a yark in the middle. And you got 4 bowls in the middle of the yark. And guess what? They took no oil to keep the lamp burning. And we got a lamp over there. He said it's an olive oil lamp. You fill it with olive oil, you keep it burning. They ain't have enough olive oil. And get what it says. But the wise took flasks of oil with their lamp. They had another little case. And as the bridegroom was delayed, they became drowsy. All became drowsy and slept. They all was sleeping. They supposed to keep watch. Then all the virgins rose and trimmed their lamps. See, then they trimmed them. And then guess what happened? And the foolish said to the wise, give us some of your oil, for our lamps are going out. He's like, man, my near going out. And you know what happened when your near go out? Especially when there's not much watching. But the wise answered, saying, since there will be not enough for us and for you, go rather to the dealers and buy yourselves. Go get you some more oil. And go buy yourself. Go buy from that poor woman who literally lost everything, and she needs to sell some oil to pay her debts. Remember? She had to get the oil, and she got empty jars from her neighbors, and then she poured the oil inside of the jars, and you know what she did? She was selling her oil because of the word of Al Yashim, and she was selling her oil to pay her own debts. Go buy from the dealers who's selling. You may actually help somebody to pay their debts, and you might have a good deed by the time you get back. You may have a good deed by the time you get back to help that woman pay her debts. But guess what happened? But the wise answered, saying, since there will be not enough for us and for you, go rather to the dealers and buy for yourselves. And while they were going to buy, the bridegroom came, and those who were ready went in. That's why I read it twice. He said, make sure you be ready, for you know not he gonna come in a time you don't even expect. And it says, and those who were ready went in with him to the marriage feast, and the doors were shut. And you know when the doors shut at the wedding feast, afterwards the other virgins came also. They still were virgins. They were Bethula, Alma. They were virgins though. The virgins came also, saying, Master, open to us. The virgins came. But he answered, truly I say to you, I do not know you. I want to know you. I should have known you. I don't know you. Watch, therefore. Watch. Keep your 7 iron on. Watch, therefore, for you know neither the day nor hour. You don't know. Why? Because this is not much watching. Right, so we look at all that. We look at Yahushua Mashiach. We look at, he said, it's not much watching. But this, yes, it's not like last time. We went thoroughly through it. But we start looking at this thing on the level that it needs to be looked at. To keep our iron open, not only in the garden, not only as a servant with our iron open, but also to keep our eyes and our iron, fixed. Iron each lapi, like our 7 near. And keep our eyes open for Mastama and Satan. They may try to enter our mind, not only this night, but also we look for Yahushua Mashiach, for we remember his death and suffer death until he comes. Knowing remembering his death, Zakar is also to remember the beginning, because before the foundation of the world, Yahushua Mashiach was there as one brought up with him. Knowing that when the lamb was slain, it was made on the 6th day of creation, but he also created Adam on that day. And Adam was in defense of the lamb that was slain. That's why when he told Judas, he told him not to kill the lamb. He said, shall I eat flesh with you? No, I will not. For I was made in the image and likeness of Yahuwah. And I was sent to guard and protect and to watch the animals and watch over his gun. Right? But we look at ourselves, we look at our individual self, and we look at our individual mind. We look at our Rosh, and we look at our inward man, and we look at ourselves, and we look up, and we look under his feet. We see the blue sky. We say we look at the Sapir throne, Yahuwah Elohim, who sits on his throne with all his majestic and his magnificence that flows from it, and his kindness and mercy that he extends to us through his son Yahushua, and offering himself for us as a sweet smelling savor that we may be able to offer to him. Knowing that this night, we remember Zakar, what happened to him. And even at this night, even at midnight, there was a cry made. And he cried to Yahuwah, says, nevertheless, not my will, Yahuwah, but thine will. Because we can look at our will and say, our will be done. But in actuality, it's Yahuwah's will be done for your life. I mean, his will be done for your life. Whether your eyes are open or whether they are closed. For the meek shall inherit the earth. The meek shall inherit the earth.